Hello everybody, this is Chris Tse coming from you live from the land of the Web3. Thank you very much for attending this AMA. There was a lot of questions submitted in preparation of this live stream. There's a bit of technical difficulty. I think we have solved that. So what we want to talk to you about is to answer a lot of the community submitted questions from both the Telegram and Discord channel. Thank you very much for submission. There's quite a few of them, so let's try to jump right in and try to get through as many as we can. So if you have any question, follow up, just please send it to the Discord. We'll try to see if we can address some of them towards the end. So the first question asked was whether there is a lot of innovation in Cardstack. What innovation make you feel like, wow, we got it? I think so let's use a timer. So I will keep myself honest to try to do it in a minute. Cardstack is a full stack framework, but we don't do the whole full stack at a time. So the wow moment comes when different parts of our architecture lines up and everything, when you click a button, everything goes all the way through the full stack, whether it's the API, the part that talks to the blockchain, the part that talks to our indexer and databases. So there's a moment where we connected a voxel design system where we're doing a media registry application that allows you to construct new type of media records, like metadata for NFT of sorts, and it was able to go all the way through the stack and be able to write this out in a Git back blockchain instances. Once I saw that, I was like, hey, we got this. This architecture, if extended, can really allow us to extended support all different types of schema, different content type, but also that with that particular capability, we know where to work on to improve performances and to improve usability for developers. So that's essentially what we have been able to do, and I'm very happy to know that that actually is something we can do. Next one is, what is Cardstack's approach to onboarding the first 1 million users to the platform? So let's do a bit of a timeline. Okay, hang on. I think for the users, the most important thing for us is that users come in for tools that's already available. So the development of cards that exist is the most important thing. So the approach that we're taking is that we're going to use our SDK ourselves within the Cardstack team and our studios around the world. We'll build the first batch of cards as useful tools that developer can, end users can use right away. And from those tools, whether that's for content, for videos, for NFTs, for community management, and for type of commerce related to card pay, those will inspire more developers around the world and say, hey, I saw what Cardstack is doing. Could I extend it? Can I theme it? Can I make it better? And that's when we get the next group of people, and that's how you grow. So I would say there's two phases. The first phase is to make sure that we, as a SaaS platform with product that we build, first party, is useful for a lot of people. And then second part with Card Catalog, Card SDK, allow developer to extend those things. And those developers going to extend the features for a feature set much richer. And that's how you get people say, oh, I didn't know they were doing something for education or for teachers. And now there's a development kit for learning. And then suddenly Cardstack has an addressable market that increased by 400 million people. So that's how we're going to do it, through first party and then SDK third party. The target numbers we'll talk about later. We really don't know exactly how big the addressable market is for Web3 application, but we believe that as long as we make it as usable as Web2, we can steal people from existing SaaS product. Okay, the next question is, to bootstrap card space, do you have any partnership with enterprise or delivering the SaaS? The partnership we are pursuing right now is largely in the Web3 space. I think there are some usefulness to connect to existing SaaS product, where maybe hooking up with Stripe for some type of credit card payment. But my personal feeling is that this is a whole new world. I spent a lot of time in Korea doing enterprise and stuff like that, but this Web3 thing is fundamentally changing the business model, that even some of the enterprise that wants to go into blockchain, enterprise blockchain, feel uncomfortable with the fact that, do you mean that we have no value, that our supplier, let's say, musicians and our audience, let's say people listen to music, can connect directly through Web3. So what is our role? So I think this is quite more disruptive than even a platform where you're using a website to connect. So my personal feeling is that most of our partnership we'll see will be from the Web3 project is building new replacement of these protocol, and we being a centralized aggregator of SaaS will first create a first-party service, and then the partnership will be with hosting companies that wants to host our platform instead of WordPress, and that's where the partnership is going to come from. Okay, next one. What would be the driving factor for people to use CardPay compared to other hundreds of wallets? I would say that CardPay is the first wallet focused on day-to-day payment. Most wallets in cryptocurrency, because of the Bitcoin wallet thing, is focusing on HODL or investment use case or charting and figuring out what your balance and portfolio is. Our goal is to make you load up a prepaid card, figure out which merchant to pay, almost like WeChat Pay or Alipay. And there's very few wallets that's are in that way. So I would say that even though we have the same kind of cryptographic mechanism and Web3 hooks as some of the Ethereum wallet, we're the only one focused on basically consumer onboarding and not consumer as investors. And that, I don't believe it makes us particularly competitive. We wouldn't, for example, build a huge amount of features to look at the type of integration for indexes and stuff like that. Mostly focus on who you're paying, what is your history, and more importantly, what are the rewards and status that you've earned, because that's how you build community engagement. Okay, next question. Do I need dev skills to set up an online store with crypto payment solution? No, the whole point is that by using our no-code building tool and our voxel design system, which allows you to configure and click on things and configure them, you've seen some demos of that. We want you to be able to set up an entire store and set the rules and products and set up prices and entirely on the web browser. The payment is done with a mobile app. It's very hard to somehow set up a store on your phone. But yes, once you have our CardPay tool, and then later on with CardSpace providing more layout and more featured product carousel type of opportunity, you can configure it entirely by point and click, and you don't need dev skills. And if you need a crypto thing, a card that represents a crypto module, let's say a NFT-based membership module that allows people to get discount on certain things, that's all configured using point and click, and you don't need to be a developer to do that. With that being said, if you're a developer, you can extend those cards, because they're just JavaScript, to do new things and connect to new maybe smart contract you write or smart contract primitive we provide, and provide richer capability for, let's say, tiering customers or providing conditional discounts. Next one. Can I still use cards if I don't want to charge a user directly through monetization or ads? Of course, you can make a web page that doesn't charge anything, and use Cardspace as essentially hosting for either content or tools, or even on lead generation forms that you want to put. It's like, hey, if you're interested in talking to me, click this button and use a voxelized form type of thing to collect that information. So you don't have to charge for it. But here's the thing about ads. I want to give a quick comment. I don't like intrusive ad that provide like kind of suck in a lot of user profiles. So what we want to be able to do is that some of these ad and promotional unit will also be cards, and they will go through a certain process to make sure they're not stealing data and stuff like that. So once they're in there, you can add those modules in it. The type of ads that I'm most excited about is the type of ads like the deck, where a group of people or a group of sites decided to come together and say, I want to build a set of promos that a network of 5, 10, 20 sites share these things, and that those networks are not really focused on listening to the user's own kind of click stream to figure out what's relevant. It's just the fact that they're part of this karetsu or something like that, of like photography or something like that, and they share those things. Those type of network-based kind of promotional module that's shared across multiple sites is very, very good, and we can make a mechanism for Card to make that happen. Next one. Why would creator join the Cardstack ecosystem to build their own card content instead of using Medium? What is the incentive for driving force? I think you answered your own question already. Creator already are using Medium, TikTok, and Twitter to build their audience, and they have a lot of success, like millions of followers and lots of engagement. The reason creators are looking at crypto, the intersection of creator crypto, the driving force is incentives. right? Incentives of crypto to be able to either sell an NFT to pay for a whole year of work. Crypto and token economics and the ability to use digital scarcity as a way to basically differentiate a random person who just liked your post because it came on newsfeed versus someone that's been following you for a long time and contributing great things to your community. You want to reward them and you want to recognize them. Crypto, both fungible and non-fungible token community, as well as kind of membership badges, is a great way to do that. So the incentives is the Cardstack is a Web3 platform that gives tools that has these kind of crypto DAO NFT to users, to creators to use. And you're not going to get that from Medium. Like they're not going to suddenly have token type of mechanics in there. If they do, they're not going to totally get it. And more importantly, it's cross-medium type. So I would say that the incentives that exist in experimentation within crypto is something we want to commodify and make readily available within our platform and make it so it's possible for people to try out those tools. And that's what makes the Cardstack ecosystem unique. It's not that Cardstack's unique, it's that we're bringing Web3 to the masses. Okay, next one. How is Cardstack different than WordPress and plugin? I'm going to go on a limb and say we're not, right? So yes, WordPress doesn't do Web3. We do Web3, those features, what I just said. But we actually really love the way WordPress won. How did WordPress win? When WordPress came to the market, there was a lot of CMS or content management system. Some of them proprietary, costing tens, if not hundreds of $1,000s a license. Some of them are like kind of like smaller unit. WordPress, the first one to say, hey, this is a good enough blogging tool. Build on a conventional language of the time, PHP, MySQL, every developer knows that. And they were able to build an ecosystem of plugins where new modules and new capability get formed in this kind of gallery so that people can build increasingly functional site with a common core. We want to do the same thing. So if Cardstack can be as successful as WordPress, providing an open source alternative to some of these new platforms. Now, even Web3, the NFT platforms, very few of them are open source. Most of them has proprietary software, VC backing. They're not going to try to like make it very permissive the way WordPress started as a true open source project. So Cardstack is a true open source project. We are based on JavaScript, right? And Postgres, which is this generation's PHP and MySQL. So we want to be able to build a plugin ecosystem, what we call the card catalog, where not only can people use Cardstack off the shelf using Cardstack as a hosting service, kind of like WordPress.com. It's like a very easy to use hosting service, but they can also customize and make their own site and host it themselves. So I would say if Cardstack is no different than WordPress and a plugin in the way we grow, but we do it for Web3, it will be incredibly successful. The next one is, can you explain how marketing will work when I decided to offer something on the card space? Would there be a video of Chris talking about a particular? Would be a Google Ads or decentralized app? No, many questions. I would say that the marketing would be twofold. One is that we believe that in Web3, people are going to form secondary communities. So you have your own space, almost your own profile page, but you're going to join other community, and then your content will get syndicated into other people's content if they let you in. So it's like making your own newsletter and then joining a group of writers to create a newsletter together. And then once you have that, your content is mixed together. So that's, I think, one way for you to gain distribution, not only by making a card space. Because card space is nice, right? Because every card in your card space is of the same type as other article types in other card space. So it's very easy to move one article, one video, one post, or one even lead generation module between different sites because they're drawn from the same software, so that it's compatible at the API and template layer. Would there be a video talking about this thing? I think this idea of cross-honoring membership, where members of your space or your community can see other one, is something that's really powerful. We call it the card membership system, and I will absolutely talk more about that. And it's not like Google Ads, it's really like a single sign-on for communities, and we will talk more about how that would look. Okay. Next one. Can I make myself first NFT on Cardstack? I want that to be something that people don't even think about making NFTs. I think people are still thinking very much about NFT being the special thing. I believe NFT is just a new SKU or stock keeping unit of media or digital objects. So yes, I would like to be able to sell anything on Cardstack, one of which may have a ownership history. If that's the case, that's an NFT. But I believe, and as I've talked about in the NFT talk, that there are many, many components of what an NFT is. The most interesting one is not just the ownership record or the provenance, and those are useful, but it's what permission you get if you get that NFT. If you bought this like little image from me, what can you get? I get access to a concert. I get 1 hour of time with this creator I admire, or I get to get the next drop earlier. Well, those are the things I want to make enable. It's closer to commerce concept and less about art collection. So for that orientation, those will be NFT. You can do it on Cardstack and CardPay. But we want to commodify the tools NFT so people can be creative about what kind of things in the real world they can emulate with this basic ownership history. And if that's the case, then yes, the answer to this question is yes. Next one. Do you plan to revision official guides and tutorial for Cardstack Builder? I believe the tutorial and education is about the best way to get people to use your stuff, because at the end of the day, many software exists in the world, but people don't know how to do it until they find a YouTube video. We would love to get a secondary group of people to come in and say, hey, I'm a creator, I teach people how to use Cardstack, the same way people say, hey, I'm a creator, I teach you how to make EDM music using Ableton Live. I would love to get them involved. What's great about our investment in all of the kind of beautiful UI is that it looks great. Like it's makes for great content if you're clicking around and seeing animation in Cardstack and stuff like that. So we want to make sure that people look at our tool the way they look at Figma or Logic or whatever it might be, where once someone has mastered Cardstack, they can't wait to share the ideas and techniques. And that's going to create not only official guides and tutorial, which we will make. We're getting more and more capability around video. You know, a little glitch this morning, notwithstanding. But the idea here is that I think fostering a community of teachers to teach people how to do certain things, and maybe sometimes fairly niche, would be a fantastic approach to get content out there. And let's forget about brand marketing and stuff like that as the primary. It's really about education and enablement and the imagination and inspiration. Okay, next one. Why would you use Cardstack for collaboration if they already use Google Drive? So the Google Drive, people use Google Drive to share like, you know, contracts or like, hey, let's go and collaborate on this like new terms of this new deal. But when you're done with the collaboration or deal, what do? You email that person, maybe send them an invoice, then they use their own system. So Google Drive or even Dropbox are very static. So they share Word document, PDFs and stuff like that. The collaboration Cardstack it's on top of the transaction capability of blockchain. So we know we can pay people. We know we can mark that something has been submitted and you can't take it back because we block in a blockchain. But if you want to adjust the terms, I say, okay, you did a proposal, but can you make it 10% cheaper? Now you can use a collaboration tool to figure out what the terms are. But when you're done, the button you click and the Face ID you click is actually the transaction. I don't think you can do that with Google Drive. Like Google payment is not built in. But that's the exciting thing about collaboration on a system for transaction, is that that's what business want to do. They want to optimize the ability for them to interact with other business. Don't need onboarding. Your wallet is as good as a registration on my payment portal. So I would say that the collaboration aspect, back and forth negotiation, is actually a small subset of the business workflow, and being able to conduct a transaction and have money be moved or value be transferred and NFT to be ownership to be transferred and permission to be granted. That is the thing that people want to do, and the collaboration is just a kind of a layer to smooth out that capability. Okay, next one. What if you already have Instagram? I would say that people use Instagram to gain audience, and I think a lot of them has it. I would say the Cardstack is how you build deeper relationship with the people who you want to basically brought into your community. So Instagram is like, kind of like a billboard to get people and say, hey, look at me, look at me. Cardstack is where you build that relationship and build business partnerships. And right now, a lot of them is like, hey, slide into my DM, or like, let's take it offline, let's get on a Zoom call. We want to have those things be a little bit less about just kind of like traditional business collaboration. So it's like really fast things on Instagram, and engagement is spreading real quick, and you want to make a deal take 2 weeks. We will be able to say, hey, with Cardstack, that extra part, the part that actually gets into the business dealing of it, using Cardstack as a SaaS tool to do those things, actually happen at the same speed as the type of audience building on Instagram. So I would say we're not competing with Instagram the same way a newsletter does not compete with Twitter, but it is a funnel where the social media creates a funnel into a deeper relationship, but the money is being made on Cardstack. Next one, which services would be paid and which service would be free? How would people use the service for free benefit from Cardstack services? I'm a big believer that a pure free service that has a price tag asterisk on it, which is who is paying for it, is not necessarily a good thing, because eventually you have to monetize and then maybe ads and tracking people. So the way we do this is that services are always paid, but if you join Cardstack early, in the network, we will give you basically rewards, or like a prepaid card with card token and maybe even stable coin, where you can buy services. And those is the balance you use. Now, if you use card token to do it, card token is may go up and down in value, but the services are priced in USD or stablecoin. So if the token value goes up, you may have a lifetime free use of Cardstack if you join early enough. Now, people who join later will have to decide whether it makes sense for them to get a 1 month free trial, vouchers. We want to support those type of system. But idea is that in Web3, much like in Ethereum and in gas, people pay their own way in. If you were to shift your gas fee to other people, we should know who is paying for it. But the idea here is that this is a shared infrastructure. We have to all pay a little bit to keep it going, whether that's the blockchain part or the hosting part. But the idea here is that, yeah, I'm totally for free trial. I'm for a period where people can try this thing out. But once you say, hey, this is useful to me, either through transaction fees or monthly subscription, you should maintain that, because that it's actually funnel a new economic value to keep the ecosystem going. Next one. Have you decided on the pricing for the card membership and additional cards? We haven't decided exactly what the pricing would be, but I understand that we are competing with SaaS. We're not competing with other blockchains. So right now it costs about $80 to do a blockchain transaction of any meaningful sort. That's too expensive. People are thinking about subscription to Squarespace or Wix. They're thinking about $10 to $10, $5. So I think we need to start from the base level around those things. And to the degree they're using token will be the conversion to that. Next one. Will Fiat On-ramp through Apple Pay in the release? Yes. I think it's very important for people to have the idea that if you don't have any Coinbase account and you don't have a thing, you can actually bring it on there. The Android on-ramp is about the same. It is the same mechanism. It is the same API keys, obviously slightly different UI because the Apple Pay capability is unique. So as long as you can do it through the web view, which allows you to actually enter certain information as necessary, the token will be delivered to the same wallet in the same way. Next question. What is the target release date of the Android version of Cardstack mobile app? Is it the same as the iOS version? We're working on an iOS version work. It's a matter of focus to make sure that we can get through the App Store process and making sure that we polish the app end to end with the integration with all the supporting service. There's maybe like 10 supporting service to get a modern wallet up, especially since our wallet is a multi-sig wallet. It uses a lot of additional features that's not required in the general Ethereum space. With that being said, we're building the Android app at the same time. So while we're not releasing right away, we're ensuring that the Android app is continue building in the software sense so that we have 2 versions live, and it's just a little bit of polish them. I don't know if it's going to be Q2 or a little bit later, but with the team that ships the iOS app will immediately work on refining the missing features to make sure the Android app is done. We're not building an iOS app and then have a different code base for it. Since we use React Native, it's the same code base for both. Next one. How long after, let's say a month? Next one is, what is the progress on the security audit? We already have the initial discussion on the scope of the security audit because one of the things about modern security audit is that we should be using as much off-the-shelf audited code as possible in the foundation. In our case, we're using Token Bridge from the XDAI POA network folks, and then we are also using Gnosis Safe as our core foundational smart contract where we're building the additional card pay protocol logic on top of it. But we've identified those two pieces that we've added on, and we're just adding features because we want to complete the card pay commerce loop that we've talked about the other day, and then we will continue refine the components and try to audit them all together, or in some cases get the token bridge out of the way and then maybe have the layer 2 contract on XDAI on the follow-up. But what we want to do is that once we have something where we feel like it's solid, we will then deploy it to mainnet as a beta, and then actually move on to another parts of it. So there's going to be probably a separation between the bridge part, which I'm pretty confident that is ready to go, and then the additional logic for like payment logic and currency transfer rate. If you pay with a token, that's different than the one that the merchant's asking for. Those that we're working on right now. Okay, next one. How can Cardstack facilitate and improve developer work? Simply, developers are totally overwhelmed. The modern tech stack for JavaScript and full stack is getting taller and taller and taller. JavaScript, APIs, authentication, cloud, databases, and stuff like that. If you add on to that Web3, wallet, transaction, DAOs, NFT, gas fee, meta transaction, there's too much to deal with. So the way we improve developers' work is to unify everything so that you only need to deal with one SDK, the Card SDK, and we code generate or adapt to existing API that we already kind of put into the platform. So we're reducing the surface area of what a developer need to learn by saying, hey, you're just building this one thing that shows up in this corner of the box of our website. And once you put your content, or it could be an audio card, or it could be a 3D visualization card, you don't have to worry about how to store it. You don't have to worry about whether it's going to, store on the blockchain or anchor. As long as you use the derivation from a NFT asset as a what we call an adoption chain, which is kind of like subclassing something, you get the capability for free. So the way we facilitate improve the developer work is to focus on reuse. So you can start with a card, a primitive that exists in the catalog as a starting point. The same way you can start with a WordPress theme as your starting point and then make your modification and enhancement from it. And when you make the enhancement, you know it has all the upstream capability. Except in WordPress theme, a lot of them are proprietary. Our hope is that all of the cards, all of the functionality and module and plugin within Cardstack ecosystem is 100% open source. So you can actually drill down and debug and find certain things. That's how we do it. It's about reuse and about building on the shoulders of giant and using the JavaScript module catalog idea of importing and using existing packages, but doing that in the front ends in a full stack way. I think that's quite unique. So next question. As a JS developer, how would I get rewarded by participant project? Can I create an own card? What happens if they get adopted by users? Two ways. One way is that you directly monetize your card. So I believe what we have learned from the digital marketplaces like Roblox, which is how developers get rewarded, you can sell digital goods like DLCs and additional items within your game. So if you're making as a JavaScript developer and you create a new card, you can say, hey, to use my fancy invite template that has like some animation, you have to pay $5 for your account. So it's kind of like buying a open edition NFT. And then if you have that badge, then can you use this particular set of cards I made for my members? It's almost like buying a template and be able to download it multiple times in a theme gallery. That's one way. The second way is if someone used your code as a foundation of their thing, someone took your animation library and then start making something, you want to get some sort of like downstream kind of royalty for the fact that another work that got really, really popular and got shared by a Beeple or something like that, and then someone is using it and buying it, that's a bit more complicated. So it has to be using the on-chain record as a way to monitor how things propagate, how it kind of went into the Web3 world, and how these relationship and provenance and the derivation chain is done, and then make sure that we can use the tally system, which is basically an analytic system, and say, hey, you got 2% of the value. We will do the first part first, like kind of a simple DLC model, and then move to the more computational Oracle proportional distribution model next. Next question. Can I clean and modify the a little or all the source code, publish a user, and collect a reward? How do you prevent this kind of fraud? This is like making trivial edits to someone else's work and then claiming that you own it and get all the money. It is very hard to do that within our system because we use JavaScript package management. So we actually have the ability to say, if you are deriving from an existing card, we know that you're importing those library. So if you are making something extremely trivial, we can know. It's like forking a project and then checking it in and say, hey, this is my new project. And people say, hey, this is not really where the main project is. So in the Git world, the open source world, there's a way for us to tell when a project is imitative and is not original, and it's a lineage of the thing. Now, obviously, this requires community governance, not free. People have to look at it and report it. So, but the statistics and the ability for you to say, because you're selling this back in the same store, like by the time you forked it and make a modification, to get it to the user, you have to put it back in the card catalog. You need to be good standing as a developer within the card catalog ecosystem and membership system. So it's like, okay, I made a fake bag, but I have to go back to the main store and try to sell it. It's like, well, they're going to catch you at the door. So that's how we do it. I mean, obviously a lot more detail to come, but that general idea is that the user always pull from the official card catalog, and that's how we can make sure that people don't make counterfeit good and sell other ways. Because in other places, if you put in other marketplaces, it doesn't integrate a card space and other wallet as smoothly. You have to siloed it. Do you think Cardstack will share in the Ember ecosystem and possibly replace Ember in the future? Yes, we share in the Ember ecosystem because it's a framework we know very well. We have a lot of members who have been long-time supporter and contributor to Ember ecosystem and our lead developers on the steering committee at Ember. Listen, I believe the frameworks go through these kind of like popularity cycles. Something is popular, something is not popular. But one thing we know for sure is that Ember as a code base, forget about the branding of it, is incredibly solid. Like a really large app with 400, 500 developers are working in Ember. And we see Cardstack as a very big app, right? Because every component, every module that's being submitted in a card catalog actually belongs into one runtime. So we needed all the investment that company like Intercom or LinkedIn has invested in the framework. And it's also very, very designed to be easy to onboard. So if you have a developer who don't have Ember experience, you can learn it. We're not going to replace Ember in the future, but one analogy I want to use is we want to make Ember popular again. Remember, when iOS first came out, people say, hey, I would love to build an iOS app. How do I do it? Well, it turns out you have to learn Objective-C, which is in that time, not the most popular language, right? But if there is a app and there's a runtime, there's a set of libraries and SDK that people want to deliver the experience through, developer will learn the tool. Our own experience is that a developer who knows React or Vue can pick up Ember in about a month and be extremely proficient and can tap into all the module and library we have already integrated into the full stack framework. So we won't replace Ember in the future. I think we will grow the ecosystem and bring more people into an extremely productive framework. With that being said, would it be possible for you to write a card in React and in Vue or whatever framework that will come in the future? The answer is yes, because the way we've thought about how we embed JavaScript is that the card itself can have alternate kind of encoding or syntax as long as it render within this DOM, document object model, within the web browser. And because Cardstack and Catalog.js, which are a component model, works at the JavaScript level, not at the Ember level, we can certainly support cards written in other things. But the overall environment, the kind of the app with the drag and drop and stuff like that will be Ember, but the card can be in the future if developers say, hey, I don't want to really learn Ember, we'll look to support React and Vue as an alternate way of building cards. Next question. How are oracles appointed and checked against fraud? And what governs them are oracles owned by the foundation. Let's distinguish two types of oracle. We need oracle for exchange rate. So if I know that you're paying with the stablecoin, I want to know how much it's worth. If you are paying with a token that's not a stablecoin, I want to know what is the conversion, either through a DEX or some other mechanism. For those kind of like pricing oracle, we don't have to solve that problem. Like between organization like Chainlink and DIA, and both of which we're having active conversation to integrate integrate with the technology, we want to use those Oracle that has already have some sort of diversity and kind of a decentralized aspects of it. So that's the Oracle that we are going to use with CardPay when we launch. We have Oracle support in them, or even like for things like what is the redemption price for Card to USD. We're going to get a data feed onto the XDAI chain and use that as a way to know that. So those are not owned by the foundation. They are in the network, in the Oracle provider, and we are citizens of Web3 in the existing Oracle infrastructure. So that's one. But as far as being able to compute our own information, we will actually make a decentralized computational Oracle infrastructure for the analytic function. We'll talk about that in the future, but those will also be distributed where there's a sortition scheme where people are doing, every node is doing the same analytics, and then based on on-chain sortition, we select 3 or 4 different of the Oracle and say, hey, what is your result? And we find basically the median of what's reported. Okay, next one. Will Cardstack be the next unicorn? How would Cardstack rise quickly in 100 mega share and markets occupied by new project? I don't know how to answer this question other than the fact that it's a land grab, right? So Web3 is very small in terms of the number of projects or number of developer working in that space. I think DeFi and NFT is still way bigger, and then the overall cryptocurrency around trading is way bigger than that. So this is a very, very, very fair small number of population. We need to have people say, hey, if you're going to build for Web3, as an end user, use the no-code tool. As a developer, use the JavaScript tool. And by the way, they have a lot of primitives that you may want to do already as cards. The cards are backed by smart contract that we tap into existing smart contract already done. So the idea here is that we are building tools, right? We are the unicorn not because we become some like mythical creatures, that we have the most useful tools. It's the easiest to integrate, and that's where we want to start from. And if other people see that this is the way to get into this Web3, you can grow really fast, because once people get ready for Web3 and looking for alternatives and seeing that this is Web3 is just as user-friendly and the wallet is even better than single sign-on using your phone or 6-digit code on your 2-factor, then yeah, I think the size of the Web3 market is at least 5 times the size of the Web2 market, just because of the tech progression and how tech permeates more of our digital landscape. Next question. Do you see any SaaS competitor in the market? I'll go and limit things. I think every SaaS product is a competitor to Cardstack, and we are competitive to them. Because when we design the Voxel design system and how we think about decentralized SaaS is about re-centralized around the user. The users want to do 10 things. Some related to payment, some related to storefront, some related to customer management, some related to collaboration, some related to contract management and payments and legal stuff, and some related to partnership, and some related to commissions, and some related to personal interest and consumption, and some related to culture and kind of promotion and event management. Right now, you need 15 different SaaS tools to do them. Sign up 16 different times using a Google account. When we design Voxel and design the Cardstack framework, it's like, hey, what if we make an open source alternative to each one and allow one environment to drag and drop and contain all of those tools? Well, that's pretty hard to do. But the way we did it was to say, well, what are most SaaS tools? They're just kind of forms, lists, threads, messaging, and like payments and actions and workflows. So let's build generic workflow forms and actions and layouts and dashboards and stuff like that. And that's what we've done. We've built a generic runtime for SaaS, right? JavaScript and persistence in database, and a set of reusable component that is as competitive to any of the forms that you see in the SaaS tool. We're going to build some of it ourselves, but what we hope is that when people who don't already have a group of customers who is like paying them a lot of money can say, you know what, I can replicate this feature I see in this event management or online conference tool in this new JavaScript kind of syntax and using the existing Voxel UI component, and then suddenly we become competitive. So we believe that it's about commodification of SaaS. SaaS is extremely expensive. In some country, the $100 and $200 a month that some of the US companies are charging for SaaS is actually unaffordable. So we can actually turn those into open source software and charge the hosting fee, the material cost fee. I think it will actually open up the market where a lot more people will be using SaaS software and obviously using it on top of the Cardstack framework. So I would like to say that every single SaaS product is possibly something that Cardstack can compete and win on being cheaper, being more integrated with the rest of your tool, and more importantly, tapping into this new economic model of Web3 and crypto that none of those SaaS tools can touch. Okay, next question. All right. Which projects are major competitors of Cardstack, and how will Cardstack win against those projects? I wrote an article about the re-centralization risk, which is that when you have a lot of decentralized protocol, the biggest risk is one company coming in and building a beautiful interface and say, hey, here's how you can get access to all these beautiful resources. You just have to go through me. Well, I can tell you, there's a decentralized protocol called the World Wide Web, HTTP, and that was very decentralized, different web server everywhere. And there's a company that came in called Google that says that come to google.com, I've indexed the web, you can get access to all of these resources through me. And now I'm not going to tell you what is my ranking algorithm, you're going to have to pay to show up on the list and stuff like that. So that's a re-centralization vector. I am very worried about that. And two things. One is I believe in the decentralization movement. I'm worried that a vertically integrated company can come in and say, hey, access the decentralized web and DeFi and NFT through me, right? And then suddenly all of the value gets sucked into one places. I would say that the major competitors are the people who could become this re-centralization kind of gateway. Coinbase, Binance would be one of them. Maybe the Graph, like, you know, they have all the access, maybe they move in the front. But I would tell you that the most important thing is here is that the genesis of what these organizations do is that what are you trying to do? Google is trying to organize a world of information, right? Then they're not really trying to, at the beginning, trying to make ads happen. They were trying to really do something genuinely useful. And I think we're going to win because we're trying to do something genuinely useful, which is we're leveraging the Web3 protocol to create a new type of collaboration and transactional tools that people can find themselves like being masters of these tools. Not just I can get the best price on a DeFi protocol or I can get a unified listing of all the dApps. I think we're trying to do a lot deeper in solving the problems of the individuals and the need to belong, the need to connect, and the need to transact with people you trust. And that, I think, is just not something you're going to see from the current crypto competitors. As far as the traditional web competitors, I'm not super worried about Google, Facebook changing the ecosystem and turning the App Store into a Web3 application. I am a little bit keeping an eye out of a lot of the newcomers in the creator economy space with creator crypto building a following. That obviously is something that could be a competitor. The way we're going to work with them is that we have a lot of technology, more so than anybody who started like 3 months ago. We would like to partner with them. So we will offer the technology, offer our insights into this space, especially if they're new to crypto, and then through their connections and their market work together. And that's, I think, how we're going to win. Next question. Which part of Cardstack technology are you most proud of which cannot be done by other competitors? I know it's crazy. We are in crypto and Web3. The JavaScript framework for Card SDK, the ability for us to define a schema of a card, forms and collections and nesting, and be able to build in one template and have it generate code that actually persist it and move it and allow it to exist, almost like bringing the idea of a file, right? That you can own this file onto your own thumb drive to software. So if you create a record for a customer, you can actually download the record on a thumb drive and then have it render on your computer 10 years later with a code base. The idea of software as a tool, right? Whereas like the software is not tethered to a particular URL and a particular software as a service that is actually floating around, and then the resource itself is kind of like rendered by this like a library of open source catalog. I mean, that is nothing to do with the crypto or the Web3. It's everything to do with the next generation, the next era of software, going from a product to a service, and from a service to a tool. I think that's I mean, it's a bit abstract, but that's really our superpower, that we can decompose all of what we believe is in the App Store, which is a product model, in like the SaaS model, which is URL, into this kind of component that can put it back together. We've learned that Lego blocks really work. Ethereum and Vitalik with his idea that there's going to be these Lego blocks on smart contract and composable fantastic idea. So the app, the part that goes, the user sees, that's the composability that we're working on. I don't think anybody is remotely close to what we have already done. Next question. What is the biggest obstacle, technical obstacle, market rollout, and other aspects and possible solution? We have to be aggressive in trying to land grab and tell people that, like, hey, this is Cardstack. We are the Web3 framework, WordPress of the next era. You should use us as the starting point. With that being said, the project is still technically a somewhat a sequential project. We need to finish this and add this in. It's like baking a cake. You have to add the ingredient and in a precise order. You might be rushing to get something because the customer is looking for more cupcakes, but you still have to bake precisely. So there is a bit of a conflict between how fast we can go, right, in terms of trying to bring a payment and hosting and a DAO for governing the card catalog, the community aspects of using reward to get people to start using the network. They are all separately solvable problem. I'm not worried about that, but you have to bring them together in the right order. Meanwhile, all this excitement in blockchain and Web3 is happening. We want to make sure that we can bring something to the market, take some space up, have people recognize that, hey, this organization, Cardstack and its community is doing some real stuff, and yet be able to constantly surprise them with when we are done with the next integration. Say, hey, this vision is much bigger than CardPay. Hey, I have a DApp builder. Oh, this is not just really about the DApp builder, it's about a whole marketplace of software. So going from CardPay to CardSpace to Card Catalog, going from a payment system to a D-Web hosting system to a kind of software distribution system, it's something that's going to have to be done sequentially just because it's technically sequential, and also from our marketing point of view, gradually 10x improve people's perception of what this project is, and then at the same time completely proving to them on their phone that this is actually live and something they can be part of. So I think the solution is to be deliberate, right? To be as diligent as possible in taking each successive step, and then basically be bold and be able to say, like, hey, this is where we're actually going. So whether you see this as something that you believe or not, we are definitely going there. So telling it unapologetically. Next question. Does Cardstack work without a blockchain? What is a blockchain necessary? Yeah, Cardstack works without blockchain. If you want to create a new content website and then you have like text card and rich text card, and you just want Cardstack to publish free on the internet and use Cardspace as your hosting service, no need for blockchain, right? We do have to know who you are, and we use a wallet as a way to give you identity. So when you have a wallet address, the 0x address on your externally owned account, EOA, on your Ethereum address, we use that as your identity. You don't need it for blockchain. But if you ask me, can I create a subscription system so that people can pay me? Then it's like, well, use CardPay. Then it's related to blockchain. So a lot of projects, it's like, hey, how do we stick blockchain underneath it to make this a blockchain project? Cardstack is reverse. It's like Cardstack is a decentralized SaaS that allows you access to the infrastructure of the internet. It just so happens that the blockchain, especially innovation in the last 3 or 4 years, is now another piece of the infrastructure of the internet. Then if you're building an app, of course you're going to tap into it. And a lot of tools that exist in the Web 2 era doesn't allow you to tap into those tools because they don't even know it. The people who work in those organizations have to quit working for like a Netflix or something like that to like explore crypto or something like that. No, we see Web3 and blockchain as part of the toolkit, and if you need to use blockchain, use it. If you don't need to use blockchain, don't use it. But the important thing is that we are compatible and designed with the type of transaction and the type of affordances that blockchain provide, and we want to bring that to the market. Next question. How do the cost of using a blockchain impact end user? I think tremendously. When every transaction and NFT costs $80 to mint, an artist can only mint like 3 or 4 works because $100, $500 is quite a bit for an artist to speculatively put on out of their wallet just to see if someone's going to buy one of the work. So I'm a big believer in using layer 2, at least having content or NFTs or even a membership system starts out in layer 2 when the transaction cost is less than 1 cent. And I think that will really improve the adoption for regular users. But I do acknowledge that sometimes you want to say, hey, I got this really, really amazing badge from this famous person on layer 2. I would like to sell it. Well, you want to be able to say, let me move this NFT to the main blockchain and then be able to sell on OpenSea or something like that and then make the money and maybe even have the creator share. We can route the payment that way. And that's the idea here, is that we want to use layer 2 as a starting point, right? And then layer 1 as a secondary way to connect with the hustle bustle and the rich ecosystem that exists there. So it's layer 2 first, layer 2, layer 1 second. Most blockchain layer 1, layer 2 is layer 1 first. They assume people already have a MetaMask and have tokens in them, and they bridge layer 2. I think it's the reverse. I think you start out people in a very low cost environment and allow some of them, as they have either earn tokens or earn money or earn stablecoin and merchant, move to layer 1 and say, oh my God, I'm in a big city now. Now I can invest in DeFi and stuff like that. So that's up to you. But you have made your mark, and you have made your relationship and connection in a much low cost environment to grow. And that's how we see it. Next question. Do you think the volatility price and token negatively impact end user? Absolutely. I think when you don't know how much something is, because if you denominate something in a ETH, which is not super volatile, like NFTs are usually denominated ETH mainly because it's cheaper to buy a NFT with ETH from a gas point of view than an ERC20. It's really confusing. Like, what is it? Like, do you intend for this NFT to be 4 times more expensive because ETH went up 4 times in the last 4 months, right? Maybe not, maybe do. I believe that prices should be priced in something that's relatively stable. And then you can then say, with the token I have in my wallet, how many of them do I need to fulfill this kind of stable price? So I believe that prices should be done using something called spend, which is our unit for 1 USD cent, which is like a way to saying it's kind of like a mileage point, which is about like an airline mile. 1 mile is about 1 cent, and credit card points the same thing. And these like Roblox bucks, V-bucks are also roughly 1 cent per. So let's use those game-inspired currency as a thing, and we use that as spend, and that's what we write in the blockchain, and then we basically convert in and out either stablecoin or your token. Now, if your token goes up and down and you want to buy using the token, then we'll use an oracle and use an existing kind of decentralized exchange to convert it to the currency that the merchant support. Exactly the same way if you're traveling international with credit card, your credit card could be denominated in Australian dollars, and you go to Singapore and it will swipe the credit card and it will do a transfer at the time in that terminal. We'll do the same thing via the card pay protocol, but the prices should be actually something that is completely within the reach of the system. All right. Let's see if there's any more questions that we need to answer. So what are the plans for scaling retain team of developers? As I mentioned earlier, I'll try to go a little faster from this section so we can cover as many questions within the next 15 minutes as possible. One is that we want to make sure that we can parallelize the work. Some work are parallelizable around the design system and the UI for the web, and also soon on adding mobile features to our wallet. But the next question, I believe, is actually kind of a more thing, which is the bull market is running at extremely fast pace. 1 quarter is like 1 year. I agree with that. Like 1 month, 1 week is a month, 1 month is a quarter, 1 quarter is a year. And if we increase double our thing, is it possible to release sooner? I think we are already hiring and finding areas where we can kind of like where more developers and more product people actually lead to greater results. Certain things we can't really speed up. The way we're working on the card compiler to get the performance optimization that we identify in Q4 to actually get it all the way through, those requires Ed and the lead developer to work very, very intensely on refactoring the code in a particular way. But yeah, there's certain areas where rapidly adding developers to get more features out there. So it's not really double the size of the team because there's onboarding and there's training, and the practical thing is that we want to add it kind of like how you add, flour in a cake mix. It's like a little bit at a time, but obviously you want to finish baking the cake as quickly as possible. All right, I think we have another 10 question. What languages can Cardstack product support? Ember, as a front-end facing development language, has a great internationalization capability. We haven't used it yet, so it's English to start, but it is anticipation that when we are in a situation where we are largely feature complete in terms of the functions, we're going to inject internationalization and localization capability using conventional APIs that's already been tested with international apps, big apps built on Ember to allow for language bundles to be included so that community can participate in the translation of the UI into different languages and then contribute it as part of the catalog. So you can actually include that as either the runtime, so they may be actually in the Cardstack/Cardstack GitHub, the main model repo, or it could be contributed as a language pack in the Card catalog as a NPM module. So yes, we would like to have the community participate in the translation effort to give the Cardstack experience to many, many more users than people who read English. Next one, are there new products in the back of your mind which are yet to be included in the roadmap? Two that I can think of. One, I think I'm kind of already let the cat out of the bag. Card Space and Card Creator is now combined. So to be able to create an NFT is just something you do within your Card Space. But the thing that I'm really excited about is Card Membership, which is a system, we call it a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, or more accurately in our version, a decentralized automated organization. We want to build a set of tools to organize communities. And obviously the first community we organize is the Cardstack community. Who are the developers? Can they propose new features? Who is going to join them to give them business requirements? Who are the designers going to come and join in a team to create mockups? There's a coordination of a set of things to encourage and almost like a continuous hackathon so that people can actually build up this catalog, not just because they want to do it in their own time, but there may be grants involved in it. If you get approved, your idea is good, you may get a few $1,000s, a few $100s to put a prototype together. That is, I think, very interesting, not only for Cardstack, the software ecosystem, but also using the same membership tools to run other communities. Now, underneath that, we're using like things that exist in the world, like Nosa Safe has a Safe Snap, which is a snapshot that works with the multi-sig wallet. We plan to use that technology. There are ways to actually pay people on escrow, conditional token transfer. There's also things we can use on that. So we're trying to not invent the underlying on-chain things if there are audited code that we can tap into. But yeah, I think the Card Membership is one. And then the final thing is that, I'm a big believer in the analytics stuff, which is the ability for us to look at all the transaction history on CardPay and CardSpace and see if we can figure out kind of almost like a newsfeed, like what is top, what is the ranking, and that's something that we call tally, part of that thing that's also coming. But you need to have a certain amount of transaction history before you can even do the data science aspects of it. But we're definitely preparing ourselves to do that. So tally would be the next one. Okay. Does your marketing begin while the product release or market consecutively? I hope you're seeing that. We're moving on CardPay and having a market conversation about what CardPay can and cannot do, doing its announcement based on the scope of CardPay. But yes, when we get to CardSpace, we'll obviously partner with and announce things that's more related to decentralized storage and Filecoin, all this kind of stuff that comes along the way. When are you adding Liquidity IDO platform ensure multi-chain loan like zero exchange? I don't know exactly what the brand names are, but DEX are important because that's how DEX is how you even do currency conversion at the time of payment. So if someone has a certain stable coin and want to buy something that's in another currency or vice versa, you want to be able to basically script together the best price you can get. And there are Uniswap is the big player on layer 1 for large denomination. So something that would hopefully be big enough so that a $20 to $80 gas fee is worthwhile. And there are other type of order book. 0x protocol, for example, has an off-chain order book and on-chain settlement. That is actually a little bit better. To the degree that you support the layer 2 that we support, we would like to do it. We're actually looking very deeply into other DEX protocol, including Kyber and 0x, and see if there's a way for us to leverage some of the innovations that happens and in the forefront and bring those value into the workflow. We do not integrate with a DEX just to have a DEX integrated. We integrate it so that it can improve the user performance and experience, and that's what we're focusing on. Okay, in which phase do you consider identity platform like Yat? I think what Yat shows us is that identity is an NFT, right? So you can create 3 emojis and say, I own that, almost like reserving a domain name, and then you can use it as an identity. It's not really identity, it's really a short name that you've reserved, right? Like SMS, right? So some company was like, oh, text me at 33833 or something like that. So they rent these short 5-digit SMS as a brand name, and then that may be a different company. You might be texting an airline versus texting a cosmetic store brand 10 months later when those things come. So I don't actually think that these kind of short names are identity. I think your Ethereum address or your kind of long string of 0x that identify who you are, allows you to accumulate history and do other things. But these ideas that, hey, I am now known as because I bought the 3 laughing, crying emoji, I think that's fun. And I do really believe that identity is something that people will assemble into the wallet. So you are many different types of short names. Call me on this .eth address, or this is my 3 thing, or this is my image, or like my CryptoPunk that is going to be my identity. It's going to be multiple aliases for people. I do believe that these kind of NFT as shorthands are extremely fun and interesting, whether that's ENS or HNS or whatever it might be. We want to support those. Okay, could you name a few company Cardstack is working with? As I mentioned in the past, we've spent about a year or two really validating our technology, and that was around the time where there was a lot of like enterprise blockchain energy. So we work with them on a top 3 label in figuring out their own metadata and kind of asset acquisition strategy. And we use that opportunity to test out our workflow system, our way of dealing to data entry, nested data entry. This thing contains an artist, and artist has its own form. How do we deal with those kind of entity relationship and nesting? So we've dealt with that. As some of you guys have heard in Telegram channel, we were finalists to work with one of the major travel associations on thinking about mileage redemption, not at the consumer level, but between airlines, so they can kind of convert one type of miles to another type of hotel point. And that really allow us to inject our understanding about how public blockchain work. And obviously that project was specifically using an enterprise blockchain thing. That project didn't proceed because COVID happened. It was kind of the refocusing of the entire travel industry to survival versus improving the loyalty system. And we also work with, in POC form, a few international banks that was looking at crypto custody, which I think now we're seeing that is actually the banks themselves are way too slow to be able to get into the field. And you see Coinbase custody and even Bitcoin Swiss getting into that game. But yeah, we thought a lot about how to get information from the blockchain, get internal approval, multi-signature, right? So what we've done is took all those experience and made the decisions that, this is most valuable in the public. So we're bringing everything we've learned, loyalty point stuff that we learned is now in the card pay and reward system. The stuff about custody is why we're using a multi-sig wallet, so that we can bring those kind of security and gating approval workflow into the public network. And for the media registry, obviously, we believe that the best media that is going to be the most valuable, most culturally relevant has not been created yet. Let's create the tools, right, that allows the creator to come in and make new content, not instead of just looking at music that was recorded in the 70s and 50, 60 years ago. Let's look at what the new creative forms are, and that's what we focus on the Cardstack framework for. Okay. Are you planning a partnership with Radical? I believe it's a decentralized GitHub. I would love to. I think the idea that every card is a Git repository because we use source code as in our runtime would be great to be able to not rely so heavily on one company, GitHub, owned by Microsoft, to store all the code that's going to power this ecosystem. It would be great to be able to do that. Obviously, we're still trying to get the plumbing of our module system work. Most importantly, the end user facing kind of a storefront, which we'll card catalog, but as a way to substitute GitHub for some of the cards that should last longer than the lifetime of one kind of Git hosting company, absolutely. Their current card tokens is going to be used for wallet and give benefits, use them. Card token is modeled as a payment and reward token. You can certainly pay for things using card token and we'll get the conversion rate. Sometimes that conversion rate has a discount or bonus to it, so it's cheaper than if you were buying with stablecoin. But I think most important thing is that if people don't have card token and they're using the network, they're spending stablecoin, they're using Apple Pay and stuff like that, they will earn card token the same way you will earn miles or earn credit card points. And those are hopefully something that if they want to redeem, they can. But here's the thing: the membership level, the ability for us to unlock feature is based on how many card tokens you have, or when you acquire them. So these rules will basically make it so that you really want to accumulate the same way you earn experience point or XP in the game. You can certainly use them, but there's certain aspects of it is just you're leveling up by accumulating that. So I think taking some game dynamics in here and making it useful in 3 or 4 different ways. Basically, it's like, hey, the card token is a super token. You can do 5 or 6 things with it. How you use it depends on who you are, what you're aiming to do, and want to provide the tools and the mechanism for you to do that. But it's up to you how you use it. Okay. Why is the project so not exposed in the cryptosphere? Cryptosphere, like any organization, any sphere, is quite insular. So you have to speak the lingo of the day. Right now, people are talking NFT. Before, they would talk about DeFi. And then before that, they were talking about, Ethereum or something, whatever it might be. People will talk about Web3. I think people will say, hey, what is the Web3 solution? And they still think right now it's about domain names or like storage or decentralized cloud and stuff like that. But I think it's a big missing piece. Where's the app? Yes, you have an index with graph. You have storage with Filecoin. You have DNS or NSN with ENS and HNS. Where's the app? Where's the user experience? How do I get on? Right? So I think there's a huge missing point in the discussion of Web3 where people are just ignoring the website itself. Right? And so I believe that when people get here, sometimes you just go to where you believe people will show up. It's a strategic position. It's not occupied by anybody. We've invested a lot of time and energy to make sure that we can serve the people when they show up. They will show up, and then suddenly, boom. Okay, why there no partnership? We are having crypto partnerships discussion right now because we are actually a lot of times using the technology before talking to them. But there are some beginning where we are starting to see for the future products that we want to make sure that we have some cooperation even before we write a single line of code. So those are coming. Real world companies, I believe that I have a lot of inbound from big companies that are extremely curious about what we're doing in the public blockchain, and they want to work with us. But we are saying, hey, it's going to be easy for us to activate you to use this platform when we get to a point where there's an existing kind of group of beta users who have validated this approach. So instead of trying to serve the enterprise customers and like change your plans, which is what you need to do if you're doing consulting, which we don't do, we're building a platform, we're building an open source toolkit, and would love for enterprise and real world company to adopt them, to make their own space, to create their own merchant, create their own offers. But they are, in my words, secondary to serving the community of early adopters who are waiting for it, knows what to use it, and be creative about the usage. And then once you establish those use cases, people are going to come in, and we want to make sure that it's as permissionless level. Hey, you want to make a card space for your own brand for selling hoverboard? Go ahead, right? We can help you, we can guide you the way, but you're secondary to the community. Frictionless payment. Can I spend on chain? Can I get converted? Can a merchant be my local grocery store at Amazon? That's a many question. I think I've answered most of those things that you can spend any token that's accepted by the merchant, and there's a allowed list of stablecoin. And then if you want to use something that's not a stablecoin, the merchant doesn't support it. The merchant does. We don't want to give the merchant a lot of random token they don't understand. Sometimes they don't even have it in a wallet. So we do convert it to a currency accepted by the merchant. Can the merchant be my local grocery store? I thought a lot about this. Obviously, digital goods are easier to do and something I'm focusing on. But the great thing about Wallet Connect, and I don't think anybody realized this, is that scanning of a QR code and then clicking approve using Face ID is how like Alipay or like WeChat Pay work. So yes, absolutely. We want people to be able to have a little screen that they have on the store, and you can scan and pay that way. But here's the important thing. You're not spending your Bitcoin in Ether. You're using CryptoRail to spend your balances that you might have loaded on Apple Pay or earned through other merchants' transaction. Everybody's obsessed about spending Bitcoin in for pizza. How many times do you have the people tell us, like, that's a bad example. People don't want to buy a $2,000 or $2 million pizza. But however, the crypto rails are getting good enough and layer 2 transaction fees low enough that it's possible for us to actually use Wallet Connect, then use this capability to actually do transaction. Not the number one priority, but certainly possible. And there's really no difference between a screen that has a QR code and a screen that you're scanning, whether that's to a dApp on your desktop or a little iPad in a grocery store. And is Tally decentralized? Is it trustless? Is it ready for launch? I think Tally is always something that we know that when you have enough state as in data on the transaction aspects, it is definitely something that exists in the blockchain. Eventually, we don't even know what's going on anymore. Like Etherscan, for example, is not the world's best way to have an understanding of what's going on in the blockchain. You get the detail, but you're too much in the weeds. So a lot of what Tally is about running analytics that is now being part of centralized platforms. So like you can go and subscribe to an expensive service that will analyze the blockchain and give you a dashboard. There are some systems that is open source and stuff like that. But the idea here is that all of them are kind of like leaves, right? You look at the dashboard and you make some other decision somewhere. Tally is all about taking that information, aggregating up using a network of nodes that runs the same computation, and we select a subset to report back on chain. Doesn't that familiar? That's an oracle. So what Tally is an analytic oracle, right? So it's an oracle that's not just doing some basic averaging. It's actually doing real computation and reducing the dimensionality. Sorry for using some linear algebra term. So that we can then say, okay, this is the number that can go on chain that is just like yes or no, are much more confident things. So it's something we're continuously working on. The decentralized aspects of it is a different challenge in just getting the algorithm right. So we have a data science team working on analyzing the data we're putting on, initially somewhat centralized using data science tool, and then independently we're creating the decentralized capability, which is running the same node, the same analytic role and using sortition scheme. There's a lot of good work in sortition, especially from Keep Network, and that we're using as a reference for that sortition scheme. So CardPay right now is using a very simple version of Tally, which is just like, hey, how many tokens have I earned? And we use the on-chain history to inform that, and then writing that kind of back to the blockchain and say, hey, this is how many tokens you can redeem. So it's a very simple aggregation service. But you can imagine that basic like super simple off-chain Tally can become a much more interesting and much more rich set of tools that can be leveraged for the type of making newsfeed, making recommendation, deciding whether someone has violated a rule to flag it. These are all capability that is in the centralized AI regime where people with the centralized power are using to kind of control people. And we can use that as a way to decentralize the AI aspects of it so that those type of algorithms do not control our life, but because those algorithms now published publicly, run trustlessly by many nodes. That is a major part of our project, but I do believe that that's a second phase of what Cardstack's all about. I think people are going to learn that we are this kind of front door to the decentralized web, and then they're going to stay for the fact that, hey, there's a fair use of analytics and AI that's helping to keep the system trustworthy. So thank you very much for your time today. I know there's a lot of questions that has gone in and out, and the basic idea here is that I want to continue to be able to have NMA with you guys maybe once a month to just making sure that any type of content that is interesting or missing in our main talks and blog posts can be addressed. And this has been really helpful because it gave me an opportunity to see what the community cares about and what they want us to either address or work on. And hopefully I've given you a quick run through of what this looks like. And we'll talk again soon. And before then, stay safe. Thank you.